Hello, everybody. I'd like to explain the course Global Healthcare Literacy by me, Eric Calderon. So first, I'll talk about our schedule, and of course, this course took place in Czech Republic. So our first day, we arrive at Prague, then we head to Olomouc, in the Olomouc University, where we have our accommodations. And then day two is we explore Almac. Day three is where we go to Bruno and a private speech therapy clinics and sightseeing. Um, Day four, excursion to the primary Cosmonautu in Almac. Uh, Departure from Almac to Basel. Day five is Faculty of Education lecture and discussions with speech therapists. Day six, Piana. Day seven, Lednis to Baldis. And then day eight, departure from Almac to Prague. Day nine, we stay in Prague. And day 10, we departure from Czech to the USA. Of course, we do more stuff throughout the day, but this is just a brief description of what was the primary focus of that day. I will also be incorporating stuff that we learned from the textbook, the lectures, and the PowerPoints into this presentation. So, day one is uh, initial understanding. So, at the beginning of the class, my culture sensitivity was limited, focusing more on surface level differences rather than deeper culture nuances. What I mean by that is that I didn't know too much of Czech Republic. As I arrived to Prague, I found out transportation on train. Um, it was a little difficult for me, but I managed to talk to a local from Olomouc, and he helped me out to transport to Olomouc. And in Olomouc, when I arrived, they gave me accommodations to the dorms. Again, I reference not knowing too much of Czech Republic. Once I got to see the University of Almac dorms, and I met a few other international people, which I will explain more as we go on through the slide. And the first day of Almac was a big day since Czech Republic was in the finals for the World Series in hockey against Switzerland. And in that tournament, Czech Republic won, and it was a big deal in Czech Republic. So I got immersed, you don't want to say too much, into the culture at that time. And actually, that was the day where I was learning a lot of Czech. Um, and if there might be a slight delay through Zoom, but I hope you're able to see that video, and I have a couple more videos as we go more into the presentation. So day two, Valamac, or as Czech Republic experience. I named it Increased Awareness. As the class progressed, I became more aware of the importance of culture, reciprocity, sorry, excuse me, realizing the need to engage in mutual learning and respect when interacting with individuals from diverse backgrounds. So as you can see, I made a lot of friends in the dorms, and they all come from different backgrounds. I can name them all individually and where they came from, and they're all over the world, and they were wonderful people from the dorms and very intelligent. A lot of them were doing their PhDs in the University of Alamac. And it was such a honor to meet all of them, and they all have their own personality and background and culture, and it was really interesting being able to explore that and ask questions and learn more about them. Day two, I mean day three, um, developing responsiveness, and we went to Bruno. Sorry, the video's over on top of Bruno, but over time I learned more responsive to over time I learned to be more responsive to culture cues and perspectives. Understanding that culture responsiveness goes beyond mere competence and requires an ongoing reflection and adaptation. So this is us going to a clinic in Bruno. It was very fun and interesting. And then we explored um, after the private speech therapy clinic excursion, we went sightseeing all around Bruno, and it was pretty fun.
Let's go.
That was us going inside a church tower. Day four, I call it developing response. I'm sorry, day four, challenges and growth. So throughout the course, I encountered some challenges that pushed me to reflect on my own biases and assumptions, fostering personal growth and culture awareness and sensitivity. So day four, we were in let's see, day four. We were in Almac, and then we had an excursion to the primary school um, around Almac. Um, and that's where I learned a lot how the differences of school education and speech therapy, how they are different from the US. One thing I saw was each kid had their own bed in a room, and to me, I found that very fascinating because I know in the US, or at least where I'm from, all the kids sleep on the floor, for example. There's a lot more different there's a lot of literacy um toys, language rich rooms with lots of the things to put language in. So during play or when a speech therapist goes in, they work on motor movements, speech sounds, um, and that was the best group therapy experience I have ever encountered. And even in the US, I haven't seen that great of a group therapy session. So it was amazing, and I learned a lot, and how I will apply that into my own practices. That's very important. Also from Alamac, we went to Bosab, maybe pronouncing it wrong, but Basab. And that's where we went to a castle, and that's a picture of us in front of the castle. Day five. Um, we went to Faculty of Education, and there we had a lecture and discussion with the speech therapist. Well, actually, they're PhD students, but the head of the department, Professor Katarina Vitaskova, uh, was there, and it's such an honor being there. Where she's done a lot for speech therapy with the University of Almac. Um, so this day I call it application and practice. So this is towards the middle of our course, and I began applying my enhanced cultural sensitivity and recipro reciproc can't say this, reciprocity uh, in real world scenarios, actively seeking to understand and accommodate diverse culture and perspectives in my interactions. So in this day, we asked so many questions about speech therapy. I was very interested in the PhD students, like what their thesis is, and this is a good opportunity to apply what we know in US to be able to uh, enhance our own therapy knowledge, be able to see their perspective as well as them being able to see our perspective. And then afterwards, we went to Fort of Science, and that's where we found really cool activities to do. One thing I really enjoyed was a real life, a giant brain that you could go in, and in there you got to see stuff from the brain, which we learn in school and UNK, different parts of the hemisphere of the brain and how do they apply to language. So it was very interesting and very fun. So day 6, continued learning journey. I recognize that culture competence is a continuous journey, and I am committed to further developing my culture responsiveness through ongoing education and direct experience. So this is was a fun day. We went to Vienna, and we just spent a whole day in Vienna sightseeing. We got a lunch and got to see lots of stuff. I wish I knew a lot of the names of the different areas. Just because we were jumping from one place to another, and there's so much to do. But this is part of the journey is being able to learn. And so I hope in the future to go back and learn more about the culture and history and different things I saw that I really, really enjoyed. And um, let's see, next slide. Um, so this is day 7 self-reflection. Engaging in self-reflection allowed me to identify and address my culture bias and assumptions, facilitating a deeper understanding of culture, cultural reciprocity, and responsiveness. So on day 7, we went to well, Lednes Castle. It was such a amazing castle. I think it's one of the best castles I ever seen in my life. Um, and then we went to Valdez and we went sightseeing. And then I'll go to the next slide. We had a good night, goodbye dinner. I put it on day 8, but it was actually day 7. But here on day 8, I named it real world application. So applying culture sensitivity in practical settings helped me navigate cultural differences effectively and foster meaningful cross-cultural relationships. So yeah, that's us having dinner the night before and being able to talk to the staff and the people that helped us throughout the trip and thank them. They were wonderful people. Czech people are so wonderful. They're great, and I just can't say enough to thank them. And then that's us heading to Prague from the train station. Um, so next slide. Um, call it knowledge expansion. So, expanding my knowledge in diverse cultural values and behaviors enabled me to appreciate the uniqueness of each individual and tailor my interactions accordingly. So, on day 9, once you arrive to Prague, day 8, we got to spend the night in Prague, but honestly, I think everybody was tired, and at least I was and stayed in. But the next day we got to see Prague, so we got to explore Prague. And that day I got a private tour guide and got to learn so much about Prague and its history. I also got to eat a medieval dinner to experience that there. This is the top and the very right. It's me in the Lenin Tower, Lenin Wall. Um, in the bottom, I met new people there. um, from UK, and the United States. They're wonderful people. And then this first video, I'll explain a little bit later.
Thank you.
So in that first video, there's a lot of statues and murals of priests that lived back a long time ago. I don't I'm trying to remember what dates, but I can't remember right now. But story behind it is that um he did not lie when the queen confessed. So the queen confessed to him. Uh when you make confessions as a Catholic person, you confess to the priest whenever you commit sins or do you want to be forgiven. Then that's when the king wanted to know more about her confessions, but the priest refused to tell him the truth, or tell him the confessions, and he got tortured and died. So he became what's that term? Like a saint and a martyr. So he is um revered all through Prague. And they say if you touch his mural in that specific area of the Charles Bridge, you can make a wish and it'll come true. So I got the opportunity to do that. And then here is a video of me having a medieval dinner. Very cool stuff. So day 10 is when we head back to the United States. Um, and of course, future growth. So moving forward, I aim to continue honing my cultural sensitivity, awareness, reciprocity, and responsiveness through ongoing learning and engagement with diverse communities. It was kind of a great feeling heading back to the US, and just learning with so much that I learned and I could apply to practice. And that was at LAX, so it's Los Angeles. And here's pictures of food. Um, Very delicious food. Um, and I just want to say thank you, Czech Republic. Thank you, all the staff members that helped us. And it was an amazing experience.